Good morning, everybody. Today we are going to learn about circulation, the importance of circulation in architecture or in architecture design. This is the fifth chapter. Oh, just a minute. This is the fifth chapter, which deals with circulation, and it has certain subtopics which we are going to cover today. So the circulation is basically of two types, which is comprising of horizontal circulation and vertical circulation. We know that horizontal circulation could be seen in the form of roads, pathways, corridors, links, walkways, etc. Whereas the vertical circulation can be seen in the form of staircases, escalators, lifts, elevators, escalators, so on and so forth. There are few things which I will read from the book. The path of our movement can be conceived as the perpetual thread that links the spaces of a building or any series of interior or exterior spaces together. That means whenever we are moving from one space to the other, or moving from indoor to the outdoor, or interior space to the exterior space, we are forming some path of our movement. This path can be seen if we just draw a line, or we leave a thread with us. We are going to make certain line in the form of straight line or zigzag line or up down line or any other form. So that particular line defines the path of our movement. The next thing which is very important is, since we move in time through a sequence of spaces, so we are always when we are always moving, and we are taking some time to move. So we are moving in time through sequence of spaces. That means we are moving from one space to the other through many spaces. So we are experiencing many spaces in between. Like you like you go from your say from your entrance of the building to your classroom. So you go through sequence of spaces. You are taking time to reach classroom also. So the sequence of spaces could be the corridors, then the staircase, then another corridor, then another linear corridor, small corridor, and then you enter into the classroom. So we experience a space in relation to where we have been and where we anticipate to go. That means whenever the movement through a space is seen, or a circulation comes into picture, we experience that a space in relation where we were and where we anticipate to go. Only then the movement or the circulation will come into picture. That means we were somewhere and we tend to go somewhere, reach somewhere. So this chapter is primarily dealing with the circulation system as positive elements that affect our perception of the forms and spaces of the buildings. Now you see this picture. From this picture, like you can see that there are people who are moving, there are people who are standing little at an elevated level, so they will be connected to this down portion through this staircase. And likewise, like there is a linear staircase which is reaching to many other levels, like you have one level, you have second level. So these levels, they are further connected with the help of linear staircase. So this is bringing say circulation in the form of vertical circulation. Whereas this corridor where people are moving left and right, they are they are able to move in this corridor and bring about horizontal circulation. Right? Is it clear? Now, next, there are certain subtopics which will be covered in circulation elements, like approach, which is very important part, entrance, very important part, configuration of the path, like I said, like you say you tie a thread with you, and wherever like you are moving, you just drop the thread. You just let the thread roll with you. So you will draw a path. Automatically that path will have some configuration or some sequence of spaces to follow. So that is configuration of path. And path space relationships. That means you are going through different spaces and you are experiencing them on the way. So that is what is bringing the path and path space relationship. That means you are following certain path, and you along that path you are experiencing certain spaces, like say if I go from my hostel room to mess for eating dinner. So I will have to take one say corridor and staircase, and then again I have to reach some atrium, and again I have to join the mess. So that is the route which I will follow. That is the path which I follow. But I am experiencing the spaces. Like corridor is a space. Like staircase is a space, different space. Atrium is a different space. So I have to reach the mess. In order to reach the mess, I am experiencing the different spaces through the path. So that is the path space relationship. That means you are drawing certain experience with these spaces through the path which you are taking, right? I hope it is getting clear through these small videos. Then form of the circulation space, that is also very important, that I will touch later. So first is very important, that is approach. Whenever we are approaching any building or any built form, we are approaching the building through a certain say path, through a certain approach. The path will be called an approach, or the road will be called an approach, or the footpath will be called an approach. When we are approaching the building, we are drawing some kind of experience about the building where we are going to enter, or what we are going to approach to. So this is a very it's a picture which is showing the experience these people they are going to have to reach Ronshaam, Notre Dame. The approach to this building is a spiral approach. It's a spiral approach because they don't directly like reach the front of the building or the entrance of the building, but to reach the entrance of the building they will have to form a loop around the built form, and then they reach the entrance of the building. So that is how the architect Le Corbusier has designed this building, and he has given this approach so that people they experience the environment around the building, and then they when they move around the building they are also viewing the built mass from all different angles in order to appreciate the beauty of the built mass or the beauty of the building. So they are appreciating each and every corner of the building, and then they are entering into the. That is what the Corbusier he thought while designing this building. So prior to actually passing into the interior of a building, we first approach its entrance along a path. So that means whenever we are approaching any building, we tend to reach the building through its entrance always. When we are approaching any building, we don't straight away jump into the building through any window. We reach the building, we approach the building through the entrance or the main entrance of the building. If you go to any house, you go to the main entrance of the house. You don't go to the bedroom door directly. So this is what is important. And then prior to actually passing into the interior of the building, we approach its entrance, that is the main entrance, along a path. This is the first phase of the circulation system, during which we are prepared to see, experience and use the spaces within the building. That means the viewer or the say observer is going to he's going to experience and draw the image of the building within the mind, within his mind. Like you have Rashtrapati Bhavan, which is a beautiful building, and say if it is not having that approach of Rajpath, which is having symmetrical type of planning on both the sides. So if it is very formal and symmetrical planning, so if it is not having that say formal approach to the building, which is Rashtrapati Bhavan, and it would be like given some say road through some nala or some jhuggi jhopadi. So just imagine what would be the experience any dignitary would be carrying in his mind while approaching the Rashtrapati Bhavan. Now that is a very in fact the Rashtrapati Bhavan would be a very nice building from inside, but the mind has already preconceived it like a very dirty, ugly building, or through the unpleasant approach which it is having through by way of like passing through jhuggi jhopadis or nalas. But instead, if the Rashtrapati Bhavan is having a beautiful approach in the form of Rajpath, so automatically any dignitary would have the best impression in the mind. Is it clear? Now, the approach to a building and its entrance may vary in duration from a few paces through the compressed space to a lengthy and circuitous route. That is, this is the circuit which it is following. It may be perpendicular to the primary facade of the building or may be oblique to it. The nature of the approach may contrast with what is confronted as the termination or may be continued on to the building interior sequence of spaces, obscuring the distinction between the inside and the outer. That is, the entrance is trying. It is a kind of it is a face which is being defining the interior to the exterior, right? So there are different types of approaches. This is the frontal approach, where the building is having right, straight entrance approach to the path which is following the entrance. This is usually like very formal. Now this is what is oblique approach, which you will find in Chandigarh. Most of the buildings, the administrative buildings, they have been given the oblique approach. So they are actually facing when the observer is passing through the road, they are able to make the buildings more they are distinguished more because they are actually facing the passerby. So this is the spiral approach which I told you about Ronchamp only. The movement is all around the building and then they enter into the main building. So these are the three different types of approaches. So here like we will go through the different examples. So here they said the entrance could be through a path which would be taking you from the exterior to the interior spaces, or it could be a doorway, or it could be a gateway, or anything. These are the various approaches to the entrances. This is again a frontal approach. So with this, I think we cover the approach part. Next, I will talk about entrance in the next chapter. Thank you.